All right, YouTube, welcome back to another video. I know it's been a little bit of time since I've updated you guys, but today I figured I'd make it a little interesting. And I've had a lot of you guys reach out to me on Instagram, and a lot of you guys comment below. So I figured I would answer some questions. The most common questions I get, whether it be in the comments or on Instagram. So I actually took the time to write down some questions, and I'm actually going to make this a two-part because there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of stuff that you guys are wondering and trying to understand. So I figured I'll make a little list and I'll just break it down as best I can, and I promise you guys I'm going to answer these questions to the best of my knowledge. Okay? And I'm gonna make it so that way you guys can understand, and so that way you guys can have also a peace of mind. Because I think when it comes to the hiring process, right, what we all need is resource and peace of mind. Like, at least for myself, because I like to get as much resource and as much knowledge as possible getting into something. Because with not having as much experience other than just being an athlete, I want to know and learn as much as I can. And I know that law enforcement is something I've always wanted to do, and especially wanting to go into Border Patrol, I want to pick up and learn as much as I can. And even when you do become an agent, I feel like you're constantly learning. There's constantly new things happening. So before I get too long-winded here, I just want to say, all you guys that have been reaching out and all of you guys that have been asking questions, love to you guys. I appreciate you all very much. I appreciate all the words of encouragement. I appreciate your guys' motivational comments and your guys' words of encouragement, and especially those of you guys that are just getting into this process, which is quite a bit of you actually. You guys are reaching out on my IG or you're commenting, and I try to interact with all you guys, and I see them, believe me. So I just want to say thank you. Before I get into the video, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It's giving me extra fire and just extra motivation to keep pushing. It's a long road ahead, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. So all I can do is just do my part, and that's just how it's gonna be. As I said before, I'm in the fighting phase. I'm in the fighting zone. So I'm gonna fight for what I want, and I'm gonna get it. And you guys should do the same thing. So now I have about 5 questions here. And again, these are questions that you guys have asked me. And so And there's actually a lot more questions too, but what I'm gonna do is this is gonna be a 1-part, and then I'm gonna make the next video a 2-part, and I'm gonna answer the rest of your guys' questions. So bear with me, guys. I got my notes here. I want to make sure that I get everything answered. So with that being said, so the first question is, how should I prepare for the structured interview? That's a really good question. That for me, guys, it all comes down to, it's just like any other job interview, right? You wanna have good tonality, you wanna be relaxed, and also you wanna have good presentation. It's all about what you show to the interviewers, right? With the structured interview, what I will say is they ask you situational questions and how you would react and why, and based on your response, you want to be very clear, concise, but you want to have a very calm, a strong bass, and good tonality. You want to hear the words that are coming out of your mouth. What you say is what you want to hear. And so, because the thing is too, you sound more sure of yourself. You sound more of somebody who's confident, right? Even though it might be a nerve-wracking experience, which is completely normal, but you want to hold frame. Hold your frame. Speak. Have that bass to your voice, you know? Not going in there acting like a big shot, being a dickhead, but just, hey, I'm gonna be showing up with confidence, being professional, and I'm just gonna give the best answer possible. How I would react to the situation and why. Why would you do it? And how would you go about it? You know? And that's something to keep in mind too. Like, if I had known that it was like situational questions, I would have been coming out with notes a long time ago and just thinking of questions, right? And I would actually encourage the same for you guys, you know, that are just learning about this. I would come up with some situational questions. Like get like a notepad, piece of paper, and a pen, and start writing, imagining questions that they would ask you. And then what you can do is you can practice interviewing in front of friends and family members or anybody, right? And pretty much what you're doing is you're putting yourself in front of people and you're speaking in front of people. Because guess what? In the interview, you're gonna have to interview in front of a panel of Border Patrol agents. That's how they conduct their interviews. And then, not to mention, when you do get into that career in law enforcement, you're gonna have to speak in front of people too. So if you already kind of have a fear of public speaking, you know, it's best to start, you know, doing what you can to get over that fear. You know, whether it's going to a speaking class, speech class. I took one when I went to a community college. And then, you know, I got a chance to do a lot of practicing speaking in front of a large group. And, you know, just talking about different subjects. But also, you know, what also helps me too was I would actually go into the bathroom and I would actually speak. And I would look and analyze how I would talk. And not to mention recording, right? Kind of like what I'm doing myself right here. I'm recording myself, I'm talking, right? But only I can see things that other people can't, right? And it's like even you guys will notice things that I don't really notice. So that's why you want to put yourself in the best light of presentation, you know, because you don't want to go in there stiff. You don't want to go in there like all like nervous, like, oh my God, like, you know, you don't want to be soft-spoken. You don't want to be unsure of yourself. You want to just, hey, I'm coming in, I'm ready to do this, you know, without being cocky or arrogant. I'm just confident. That's what it's all about. You want to have that confidence, you know, and it's just like any other job. Not just this scenario, right? If you're going into a job interview in general, that's what it's all about. Presentation, holding that frame, preparing, and just believing in yourself, having the confidence. Because I'm a true believer of law of attraction. If I believe that I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna do the best that I can, and I know I'm gonna do well, guess what? I know I'm gonna do well and the outcome is gonna be good. So you have to give yourself that fire, that sense of urgency, as well as practicing just holding that strong frame. So that way, when you go in, you know for sure that you know what to prepare for. You know that you spent all this time reviewing, practicing, speaking in front of people, whatever you need to do to prepare and get yourselves right. And ultimately too, get your mind right. You know, you want to get your mind right. You know, you don't want to go in there all tired. You don't want to go in there in a bad mood or any kind of baggage that would be negative that could impact your performance in the interview. Because believe me, this is a one-time impression. So if you don't pass this interview, you have to wait 6 months and reapply again. And you don't want that. So you want to give yourself every opportunity to succeed. So as long as you're practicing and doing what you need to do, give yourself that opportunity. Don't leave it up to chance. So for the next question, is the polygraph hard? So I actually had a lot of you guys comment, reach out about this, like, and the thing is, when it comes down to this, guys, is there's really no way to prepare for it. And this is kind of a broad question, right? Is it hard? It's only as hard as you make it to be. Okay, I'll say it one more time. The polygraph is only as hard as you make it to be. And pretty much what I mean by that is, there's no way to prepare for a polygraph. They're just going to ask you questions based off what you've given, the information you've given them in your SF-86 form, your EKIP, or, you know, stuff that's in your background. They're only going off of stuff like that. Now, obviously, what you do need to keep in mind is everyone's background and everyone's form and how they fill it out is way different. Everyone has a different story. Because I'll give you a little insight here. When I went in to do my polygraph examiner told me these exact words. This is Evan's show. It is all up to you to succeed. Only you can make that happen, and I'm here to help you. That's literally what he said. That's literally what he said. I can't even make this stuff up, guys. That's literally what he said. And that's how you guys need to go in there and handle it, okay? You know, this is Joe's story. This is Amanda's story. This is Kathy's story. This is Jack's story. This is your story. This is your story. Like, the only person that can really screw this up is you. And to be honest with you, if you're very transparent and you're very clean and you're very genuine and you're consistent from your SF-86 to your background to this point, there shouldn't be any problems. Because guess what? I'm going into the polygraph knowing that not only am I going to do well, but I know for a fact that I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. What do I have to hide? I didn't do anything. Not that, you know, I've done some silly stuff and I'm not willing to take accountability. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, based off the questions they're asking me, have you committed any serious crimes? Do you have anything that is in your past that would make us question your integrity against the United States, or any sort of serious matter that would be considered a threat to the U.S. Because they have a polygraph for a reason, guys. Newsflash. It's a filtering process for the people that actually qualify and people that don't qualify. Because I'll tell you what, I don't want, if I was the one hiring and, you know, and if I was adjudicating the process, I wouldn't want anyone that had a serious criminal record, who was a felon, or someone who, you know, committed a hate crime, or someone who I would seriously doubt that, or who I would think that they would be a threat to the U.S. I wouldn't take any chances. Because if they've done something like that, chances are they're going to do it again. You know, not saying that they're bad people, but what it comes down to too is, guys, I feel like a lot of people take it personally. You know, oh, like they're making it harder than they should be, and they're kind of discriminating against, you know, people, and they're trying to keep all the good people out, and they're just disqualifying you for no reason. Guys, listen, it's not for me. Like, I'm not on here to convince anybody that this is how it is. All I can tell you is the information, and just be genuine and be honest with it and share with you how it is. Because the thing is there's a reason why they do things, you know. And if it was really something that didn't require something this serious, then, you know, for one, it wouldn't be as valuable, and then it wouldn't be a good filtering process. Because there's a reason why, you know, some jobs are easier to get into, and there's a reason why some jobs are a lot harder to get into. You know, there's trouble like with military, law enforcement, you know, any sort of career that is very valuable and that serves like something that's a huge public service. Like it should be that way. I know I might get flamed by some of you guys, but I feel like it should be that way. You want to filter out the people who are qualified and people who are not qualified, you know? And I think it's fair. I think it's totally fair, you know? And if I was someone with a past and I willingly wanted to apply to get into Border Patrol or HSI, FBI, I mean, obviously, deep down, I already know what the outcome is going to be, but I figured I'd just give it a try anyway. Guys, the thing is, they're very selective. They're very selective. And if they weren't so selective, we wouldn't have people with integrity, with good work ethic, and people who are built to do the job. You want people that are ready to do the job. You want people who are ready to serve, protect, be a part of something that's bigger than themselves too, right? So I feel like it's very, very important. And you know, a lot of people disagree with the polygraph. A lot of people have a lot of feelings and thoughts toward it, which is normal, you know. I mean, at first when I was going into it, I was just like, man, I wonder why they have it. I wonder why it's a thing. I wonder why it's a necessary thing. But, you know, learning and knowing, and especially the things that I picked up on, I realized it's a lot more essential than I thought. And it should be that way, you know? So at the end of the day too, guys, is don't take it personally, right? You can't take it personally. Because again, you know, at least be proud of the fact that you came that far to get into the polygraph and to be able to take it. Pass or fail, that's going to depend on you, right? I can't tell you guys, oh, say this, do that. No, it's all up to you. And all I can tell you is be truthful, be transparent. Because, like, obviously, I'm not going to blurt out any names. I'm not going to, you know, say who said what, but I've had some people ask if they should just lie and if they should just not, you know, say certain things. But the reality is, guys, as I said before, you never ever want to lie. Never ever ever lie. Never try to cover anything up. Never try to do it, because guys, it's gonna bite you in the ass. It's just gonna bite you in the ass. I mean, and imagine that, but imagine, you know, you get into the background. Well, hang on a second. What about this? Why didn't you share this? And you're not being transparent with that. Well, then that's gonna hurt you. Because again, this whole hiring process is all up to you. Only you can give yourself a shot to succeed, or you shoot yourself in the foot and you fail. Regardless, you have to give yourself every chance you can. And the best way that you can do that is to be transparent, to be genuine, to be honest, even if it is the most ridiculous, most embarrassing thing. I have my fair share of that too. I had to complain about certain things too that I didn't want to complain about, but I had to for the sake of this step in the hiring process. Because I want to give myself every shot. You need to give yourself every shot to succeed. So at the end of the day, guys, it's all up to you. It's not hard. I don't think the polygraph is hard at all. And especially if you don't have anything to hide, no. If anything, it's just it's a normal conversation. It's just someone that just wants to get to know me more. And it's a filtering process. That's all it is. So it's nothing to take personal. It's nothing to be, upset about or worried about. It can be nerve-wracking. I'll be honest. I was nervous too. That's completely normal because it's fear of the unknown. You don't know how it's going to play out. But what I do know is you will be okay if you are genuine and honest. And at least give yourself a shot to succeed. So that answers that. And the third question is, bear with me guys, what kind of training do I need to do to prepare for the academy? So this is very broad. What I will say this, like, I think that this is a really good question for like a recruiter, guys, because obviously I don't want to come on here and say you should do this, do that, do this. And I'll share a little bit of what I'm doing myself, right? But I feel like, first of all, if you guys are wondering how to get in shape and all that, I would talk to a recruiter, your local recruiter, get in touch with them and tell them, hey, like, I'm from this part in Texas, I'm from Arizona or California. I want to go into the academy. I need to figure out, like, I need to understand what I need to do to get in shape, and I need some guidance. And they'll point you in the right direction because they have forms and articles on how to prepare for, a fitness test and what you need to do to get yourself ready and to get in shape. And as a matter of fact, guys, what I will do is I will post some forms. There's gonna be a link in the description of this video, so you guys are welcome to check that out as well. But in that case too, what I'm doing right now too is, guys, just to share, so hopefully like it can help you as well, and you can kind of get some ideas. Pretty much what I understand is that there's a lot of cardio, and there's a lot of high intensity going on, right? And there's a variety of stuff going on at the academy. You want to be able to get your running on point. You want to include strength training. You want to include your interval training. You like whatever is going to give you the best opportunity to get yourself ready for having your cardio on point and your strength on point. So that way, when you get to the academy, you're not having a hard time. Because the point is like, you want to give yourself every opportunity to succeed. You guys are going to hear me throwing this around a lot, but I think it's really true. So don't neglect any part of your training. Don't just stick. A lot of people think I need to focus on running, but at the same time you're going to be doing an obstacle course too. That's going to require some upper body strength, some lower body strength. So don't be afraid to hit the weights. And there's a lot of guys that are big meatheads that want to lift weights, myself included. Like, we throw around a bunch of weights, but you got to work on your running too. So you can't neglect anything. I feel like for training, you need to be well-rounded. So what I do is 5 days a week, I lift weights. I train, and what I'll do is I'll do like 10 to 15 minutes on the Stairmaster at level 6. And I will do that 5 days a week after every workout. And then what I'll do is 2 days out of the week, which are usually on my days off when I'm not lifting weights, I will go on a run and I'll run about 3 to 5 miles. Sometimes I'll run up to like 6 to 8 miles, but pretty much what I'm trying to do is condition myself for long distance running, because when you're out there on the field too, you're going to be moving around a lot. You're going to be doing a lot of running at the academy too. But when you're in the field too, you want to be prepared, and especially if you're chasing after criminals and stuff like that, or you just get yourself in a certain scenario that requires you to exert a lot of energy for a long period of time or a short period of time. I want to make sure that I have the ability to keep up as necessary, and so on, because the last thing you want to do, even being able to defend yourself. That's another thing too, is so after I run, I do a little bit of boxing, and pretty much it kind of just sharpens up my self-defense. Because I grew up, I was doing some martial arts as a kid. I was doing wrestling when I was in high school, and I recently just picked up boxing because it's, you know, something different that I want to try. So, and I'm loving it. So I feel like, you know, being able to run, being able to lift, also being able to defend yourself, you know, that's a very well-rounded individual that's capable, because you're essentially, you're equipped to, like, especially with what you're going to learn at the academy, and then after you graduate, you'll be able to take that with you to when you go to the field. So for me, it's like, I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking about the next 20 steps ahead, because again, I want to give myself the best shot I can possibly give myself. And if I can know how to fight, and I can run good, and I can lift, and I'm able to keep up with the duties of the job, then I know I'm in the right spot. And then and also another thing that ties into this is having a good resting, like allowing your body to rest, you know, because it's hard sometimes when you're on the go to let your body rest. You guys want to be able to get your naps in, to get your sleep in, because that's your body essentially recharging, and it needs to recharge, you know. And I learned that rest is like the most important thing when it comes to a training routine. And on top of that, quality nutrition. So you want to eat the right stuff. You know, me, myself, I track my food, I track my water, I weigh my food. I make sure that I'm eating quality nutrients every day, because I want to be able to perform. If I just eat fast food and junk food every day or every other day, I'm not going to perform as good as if I'm eating, you know, clean consistently throughout the week. And, you know, guys, there's nothing wrong with eating, like, you know, a good meal, having a slice of pizza or a burger, or going out for ice cream every now and then. But it just, I don't indulge, you know, is what I'm saying. Like, I like to be consistent, be clean, and then, you know, maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll have something, I'll enjoy something. So, but at the end of the day, it's all about quality nutrients, because I use this analogy a lot, but think of your body as a car, right? Like a high-grade vehicle, like a Ferrari. You're not going to put any low-grade gas in the Ferrari. You're going to put the highest quality gas that you can get and put into it, because that's what it requires. And that's how you got to treat your body, and that's how you got to be. So have those things lined up. You know, get on your nutrition, get on your rest, get on a proper training regimen. And what I'm thinking of doing is I might even drop, like, you know, a little vlog for you guys, and to kind of show you what I do, and especially for you guys that, you know, may have trouble trying to get in shape or whatnot. You know, I can kind of just do a separate video for that. But, you know, if you guys have questions about this kind of stuff too, guys, you can always ask. I welcome all of it, because I'm a personal trainer myself, and I've been working out for over 10 years, and I've played many sports, and, you know, so if you guys ever have questions about certain things, always feel free to ask, you know. So that's what it's all about. It's community, you know, help each other out. So next question is, what helped you succeed in the entry exam? So it's funny, because with that, this is actually something I failed twice. Like, the first time I ever took it, I didn't prepare. I gave myself a very short window, because I thought it was something that it was like a little assessment type of thing. It wasn't anything like, you know, I had to take time to study and practice. I saw the study guide, like, in the in the CBP entry exam, they have the study guide there, and I think it's like 8 or 10 questions, and it's logical reasoning, right? So I'm practicing all these logical reasoning questions, and I'm just practicing off of that. But it was kind of half-hearted too. So like my mind wasn't really into it, and that was a problem. So like after I applied, I took it. I think it was like a week later. I took it and I failed it, and I had to wait 6 months and whatnot. And so pretty much what it came down to is that I had to reflect. I had to understand that, I mean, even though I got the study guide on the form, I still had to put in more effort, not be half-hearted, and really take this thing to heart. And so that way I can be prepared. So as I was waiting through that 6 months, I was on my last month before I could reapply and schedule another exam. So I looked up the best like the study guides, workbooks. It was a workbook. So I looked up the workbook. I looked up Border Patrol Entry Exam workbook, practice quizzes and tests. And I'm gonna put, and here's what I'll do for you guys too. I'm just gonna sidetrack. So there will be a link in the description for workbooks and a study guide I used online to help me succeed. So just a disclaimer, that will be available for you guys to look at and check it out. This is what I personally use that helped me. You know, obviously everyone has their own methods, but you guys feel free to check it out. It will be the link in the description. So anyway, back on topic. So when I used the workbook, I instead of scheduling it in such a short time, I gave myself like a month and a half to almost 2 months. And I was studying that thing. I was looking at it every single day, reviewing everything that I could, and just giving myself the best possible opportunity to succeed at this. So I went and I took the exam. I was pretty confident, and it actually worked out really well, and I passed. So that was a good thing. And so, funny enough, I actually had to take it like a couple more times. And so that one time was because my application got pushed back, and I was in the medical phase and whatnot, and I was getting through, I was trying to get through that. And so by then it was already a year, so I had to retake it again. They changed the questions up. I took it and I failed it. And then I had to go for another 6 months, and then that other 6 months, that last time I took the test, I passed it. I was using the workbook, but I was also using this link. Pretty much, if you go to Peterson's, there's a study guide for practice questions for the Border Patrol Entry Exam. And there's like 3 different tests that you can practice and review. So using the time that I had, I was looking through that and the workbook. So I was looking at different questions, different scenarios on logical reasoning, because guys, it's all logical reasoning. So you want to make sure that your mind is well rested and prepared, especially when you go to take your exam. So, but I went to go take my exam, and I actually passed it. So, and that was because of the workbook, the practice tests on the Peterson's website, and then also I gave myself rest. So another thing too, guys, to keep in mind is you want to go in with a clear headspace. You want to be rested, but you want to go in there with a good headspace. You want to have a clear mind. And what I mean by that is because when you go in to take your exam, you want your mind to be clear and just ready to absorb, so you can read the questions, break them down and dissect it. And what's good now is this is stuff that came out after I took my exam, because I actually had to go to a testing center to take it, but you can actually do it online. And I'm not sure how far out you guys are able to schedule it, but it's so convenient because you guys can literally take it from the comfort of your own home. And you give yourself all that time to prepare and to be ready. So I think it's awesome that you guys have that accessible to you. But again, it's an exam, so you want to give yourself every chance to succeed and to be in the best clear headspace that you can possibly be. So that's what it all comes down to. If your mind's right, you're gonna do very well in this test, and that's what it's all about. So hopefully that helps you guys out on that part. So the last question for this part is why does the hiring process take so long? Honestly, guys, it just comes down to the individual. Obviously, depending on the person, every hiring process for everyone can be lengthy in its own way, but it just comes down to you personally, right? That could depend on your background. That could depend on your medical history. It just varies. There's a lot of different things. I can definitely say what's held me up was my medical, because I'm a type 1 diabetic. So there's a lot of, digging that they have to do, because, as a diabetic, it's an issue that could be a problem if I don't take care of it, right? And I want to they want to make sure, as well as myself, that I have control and I'm doing what I have to do to make sure that everything is okay, And even right now with the background and stuff, I'm still waiting for that to process. So, and I promise you guys, I'm going to make a video on the background itself too, and what happens from there and the final decision and whatnot. So that's still in the process, but it's good because it gives me more time to prepare and be ready for the academy. But the thing is, the fact that when people go through the hiring process, you're gonna face a lot of obstacles. You're gonna face a lot of different things that are gonna hold you up, And again, that just depends on the person. Some people get in a lot more quickly. Some people, it takes a lot longer, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a bad thing. Oh no, whether you get in within 6 to 9 months or 9 months to a year plus or more, it's not a bad thing, because it just, depending on where you're at or what you've done in your life, it's just part of the process, right? It's something that, and I don't like to look at it like, why does it take so long? What I've grown to understand is they are filtering out the best people for the job, but also they are pretty much just giving people the opportunity they can to succeed, to get through it, because I feel like the hiring process in itself is very fair. They give you an opportunity, like if something comes up in your medical or something comes up in your background, you get a chance to write a letter or refute or whatever the case is. They even give you extensions too on certain stuff, except for the polygraph interview and entry exam. If you don't pass it, then there's going to be a period of time where you have to wait before you can reapply. But certain stuff like medical, your background and whatnot, like they give you a chance to kind of redeem yourself a little bit. So they're not like trying to shut people off. They're not trying to make it hard. I wish that it was kind of more structured to where you can work with a recruiter, and a recruiter can help push your application a little bit more quickly, So that way the timeline won't be so long, and the process of waiting and trying to get a final offer won't be so long, you know. But obviously the way it's gonna be is the way it's gonna be. You know, I don't want to fight it. I don't want to drive myself insane, because I feel like with all that time that goes by, you know, a lot of people tend to kind of drive themselves crazy, and that's the last thing you want to do. Because then what's going to happen is it's going to impact you negatively, and where your mind goes, your body's going to follow, and that's the last thing you want to do, is drive yourself crazy. So believe me, guys, it all happens in good time, you know. So because of the time it takes, don't be discouraged. Do whatever you can to be prepared physically, mentally, in every way. You want to be well-rounded going in. I'm a big believer of being well-rounded and being prepared as much as possible going into it, because it's a huge transition. Going from, you know, maybe most of you guys come from military or, you know, firefighting backgrounds or other law enforcement agencies, and you're going into that. That's still pretty big transition. But I feel like, you know, you want to be clear, right? You want to be clear-headed. You don't want to come into something new, going into the academy with baggage. You don't want to have any negativity. So, or any animosity, like, oh man, these assholes made me wait, like, and just have this, you know, these negative thoughts that could impact your performance, you know. So, and that's what it comes down to too, is you can't take it personally. You just have to roll with the punches, and when your time comes, it's gonna come. So anyways, guys, before I get too long-winded, I'm gonna leave it here for today. But lastly, guys, I just want to close, and I just want to say thank you to all you guys that have been reaching out and encouraging me and being supportive and, you know, asking questions. As I said before, guys, the door is always open. Please ask me a question, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Comment below of what you guys would like for me to go over, or any questions that you would like for me to answer. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.